What, do I not have my camera on? What happened? Hi guys, welcome to the Practical Traveler. Um, uh, there we are. I had the physical cover over the over the camera, which is not conducive to making a video. Um, Listen, guys, I'm here alone tonight, so I'm probably going to go through this pretty quickly. But I wanted to put some stuff out there about the channel, things I've been thinking, and what things that have been going on. So without further ado, let's get started. If you don't know what you're watching, this is the Practical Traveler, which is the podcast where we talk about our channel and our hopes for the channel and our intentions and plans for the channel, and also some travel stuff. It's a travel channel, so we will be discussing where we plan to go and hope to go and things we plan to do for the channel. So, but it'll be a mix of all those things. And hopefully that's going to be helpful to people as well as just let people keep up with what's going on with the channel. But one of the things we wanted to do when we talk about travel and think about travel, and by the way, I'm using new headphones because I didn't like the audio last time, so I'll just have to try them and see. They sounded last week. It sounded okay, so if I just have to go with the native mic that's in the laptop here, that's doable and that's fine. But if I could get something that does a little better sound, I'd rather go with that. So, but anyway, so one of the things we talked about doing, like that's fun to chat about in the planning stages before you travel, is to watch movies that are related to the place that you're going and kind of give you a sneak peek into the place that you're going. And we decided to call that the armchair traveler. I just put them there, the Armchair Traveler Movie Club, so that we can talk about the movies that we watched. And I'll go ahead and admit the one we watched last week in anticipation of this episode was not really about Hanoi. It was Vietnam, and it was I committed a couple of sins that I didn't want to do, but then I really wanted to watch this movie, so I made it the first on the list. And the movie was The Quiet American, and I watched it a few times. It was a good movie. I liked it. It had Brendan Fraser and Michael Caine, and it was from about 2002, I think it was. And it was a good movie. The reason that I wanted to avoid war movies was because, I mean, if you go down that rabbit hole, there are a bazillion war movies, American war movies about Vietnam, and almost none of them are actually about Vietnam. They're about the war in America and all this business. And it's valid. It's not an invalid topic, but it doesn't really help you in learning about Vietnam very much. So I wanted to generally avoid those, but I got to tell you, a lot of the movies that come up when you try and filter through movies about Vietnam are just war movies. Now, this one was a little different than what you might expect. This one was about the War for Independence from France, which happened before the American War. So it was okay, a little bit okay in that respect, I think, and it also did a pretty good job of it, having Vietnamese people play the Vietnamese parts, and a little bit of insight into Vietnamese culture, and so it wasn't too bad of a movie. But it was just one that was it has been on my list for a long time, so I got it in there. And also, it was set more in, well, I should say more. It was set almost entirely in Saigon, so it wasn't about Hanoi at all. And I didn't want to commit that sin, but I knew that if I was going to watch this movie, this is probably the best time to do it, and to be able to chat with Erica about it. Although it doesn't look like she's going to be here this episode, so that is unfortunate. So we missed that, but yeah, it's a good movie, and I won't go too. I imagine this will be a short episode today since Erica's not here to chat with me, and Scott. I timed it at the worst possible time. I should have made it for this morning. I have no idea why I didn't, but there you have it. That was my mistake. Maybe one of the things I wanted to talk with her about, and maybe we'll just talk about it in the next food episode that we do, is to make this a regular show. But we'll get into that later. I don't know if there's a lot I want to say about the movie. It's a good one. It's worth watching. Again, a couple of big stars that I like. were in the movie. It was more about the war for independence than just about Vietnam in general, but again, worth watching. Um, I don't know if the movie club with one person is going to be the way to go, but there's a lot of things I was going to say about the movie, but just to try and relate it back to travel. If you're going to Saigon, it did show a bit of Saigon. I'm more worried about the the geography in it for travel than I am about the movie itself. So I'm not really a good one to talk about the plot and the meaning behind the movie. Um, I'm interested more in the sights you see in it and the places that it goes. It does take a few trips outside of Saigon. It comes up into the north, but it's really only showing, not even the countryside. It shows one area, a pretty typical, depiction for American war movies, which is to say they were in a little river or creek bed and they were marching along. It was, soldiers and they're in the countryside, and most of that totally unfamiliar to me. I've been outside of Hanoi a bit, not a lot, but I've been outside, and I guess I can recognize some of the farm scenes. When I look at them, and I go, oh yeah, that does look like something outside. But they were in an area where I would never go to, and I don't know that it's a realistic depiction of the area. Something tells me I hate to say this because I hate to misremember things, but I seem to remember reading somewhere that some of the outdoor scenes were shot in Thailand, so it's not even showing Vietnam. Maybe there's areas here that look like that, but I don't know. And then it takes a trip up to the border with Cambodia at one point, which is on the south end, closer to Saigon. But again, I don't. It's not something I would recognize if it were shot right, honestly on location. I would have no clue if it was there. So, because it's just generic countryside. Unfortunately, there's a lot of that. Anywhere you go, countryside does look generic. When you get into cities, okay, you can see specific buildings and sites that hey, I know that's where that is. But in the countryside, just you know, not that all countryside looks the same, but you can certainly film something that does look very generic and go, yep, that's definitely southern Louisiana and or Vietnam. Can't really tell the difference because it's just wetlands. But but in Saigon, though, they do show a couple of sites. They filmed. In fact, one of the main locations is right in front of the Opera House in Saigon, which is a famous opera house. So that was definitely shot on location. Trying to think if I saw anything else that was just instantly recognizable Saigon, and can't really think of anything. That little square right there where the opera house is was his favorite coffee shop, and we go there and are there quite a bit. That's it for that movie. I'm sure Erica would have more to say. She would want to talk about other parts of it. That's kind of what her and Scott are for. That's why I got to shift the time on this so that we all get here. But we'll talk about that again. Now, the next week's movie, which hopefully we'll all be here to talk about. I know you're like, well, that was a quick overview, but we can't show the whole movie, and I'm not well, at this point I don't know if I want to get deep enough into these movies that we're watching and chatting about to be showing clips. Maybe it's worth it to show clips. There could be some online, but I'll leave that to Scott and Erica if they want to take over that part of it. I just want to see like the place, the settings. That's really what I'm interested in. Maybe Scott. I think Erica will definitely take the actors. She'll talk about the movie in other respects as well. And Scott will be probably interested in the storylines, but I'm interested in settings, so I want to see where it's being shot, and if they're shooting on location, or if they're not shooting on location, are they successfully representing the place or not. That's my main area of interest. And I do realize now I absolutely need to change my background because I had that same background last time. You can't be all about place and not keep up with the background. So let me grab a nice picture. Actually, let me see if I have a picture already. How do I change my background? I forget how this thing works every time I use it. No, oh, that's Phnom Penh. I don't want to. I say I don't want to misrepresent the city that I'm in. So let me grab a nice, lovely picture of Hanoi. This one should do. Okay. I could have done this before the stream started, but I mean, I can't now. There we go. Yeah, I'm hovering above the city. That's one of the famous modern bridges that leaves the city headed towards the airport. Well, headed north, probably used mainly for the airport. All right, let's talk about another thing, which is something I will share presently. I just have to figure out what I'm sharing. This is one. This is a movie that again, it's one I really want to watch, but I think this one is actually set in Hanoi. This is not as famous a movie as the one that came out, but it is a Vietnamese movie, I think. I don't know, production country, United Kingdom. Oh, I bet it's in English then. Well, I guess that could be a bonus. Monsoon 2020. It's a much newer movie. It's not about the war, and yeah, I think it's going to be a good one. So I think Erica will like this one. Send her a link. So I'm using this site Just Watch, and I use the app too, and it's pretty good. Pretty good. It gives you a pretty good list of It doesn't have every movie ever made, but it has a lot of them, and TV shows, and it tells you where you can stream them, rent them, or buy them online. So I don't think it's on YouTube. I may do that one. There's a free version on Tubi, but you got to watch ads, which I don't mind at all. Tubi will work for me here. I'll do it. But yeah. So anyway, yeah. Monsoon. Monsoon is next week's show, and I already see here in the little advertisement window here. It's got the picture. I already see a road which look. I mean, it's you can't tell for sure, but it looks a lot like Hanoi. It looks like some of the elevated highways around Hanoi. So I'm hopeful on that front. All right, well that's it, and we can see if we could get a trailer. Usually a trailer around. I'm not seeing a trailer. Well, I guess there's not a trailer. Ah, look at that. You can stream it for free on an Apple TV trial. I don't want to try it though. I'll just watch the ads. All right, so it says exclusive trailer, but I'm not seeing a trailer of any sort, exclusive or otherwise. Yeah. Okay. Well. All right. Well, that's that. Well, that's next week's. That's not next week's episode. I'll try and find a site where we can see trailers next time. But I thought you could do it on this one. It even says right here, exclusive trailer. It's so exclusive we can't watch it. Good. Stop sharing. Yes, I did. All right. Well, that's the Armchair Traveler. We're that's our movie club. Um, if they will log on next time, maybe we'll have a better movie discussion. All right. The other thing is the thing we're actually supposed to be doing on this channel, which I wanted to get into fairly quickly. Actual travel plans. We want to talk about on this channel. We want to talk about history, food, anything that's going to lead up to our episodes in the future. We want to get ready for them and talk about what we want to know and what we want to see before we go. So I can certainly pull up some actual travel plans because I have made a lot of plans. Let me pull up Hanoi. Well, where's my plans? My things to do. I'll go ahead and show you the site that I use, Visit a City. I use this one. It's Erica, I laughed about it before, but this site has a lot of good pre-made itineraries. And one of the things I like about them is you can take their itineraries and then, oh, here we go, my plans. I think I've never seen this site before. Yes, is this mine? Yes. All right. So it has a lot of good travel plans in it, and then they allow you to. So you basically save one of their itineraries, and then you just make your own out of it, or you can start from scratch and just make your own. Since we're going to be traveling a lot, I don't want to be trying to make every itinerary from scratch. So I start with one of their base itineraries, and then just take out stuff I don't want to do and add in lunch breaks or whatever. I quite like it, but that's me. I like to have everything planned out. And they've got a app. Of course, you can make your plans on the internet, and then they pull them up on the app while you're actually making your way around the city. So the Military History Museum, okay, that's a good start. That's certainly something we want to do. A lot of these, I'm not sure that we're going to be able to. Before we do them, I'm going to have to send off emails to the sites and see if I'm going to be able to film there. I'm not sure if the Military History Museum is going to allow filming. Maybe they would. Mostly it's art museums, something that has to do with intellectual property that don't want you to film, and I get that. That's understandable. But if I can just find out beforehand, I can strike them from the list and make a better plan. But that's good. So that's actually close to my house too. If you'll notice, we are planning. Um, we are planning to do Hanoi first, although it's not really me traveling, but I do live here. But Hanoi has so many sites. It's the center of Vietnamese culture going back 1,000 years. So of course it's going to have a lot of sites, and it's the present day capital. So we go with that. Museum of Fine Arts. I want to do that. I'm not big on. I'm not a huge art person. I mean, I don't dislike art, but like some people know a lot about it, and so they are more interested. But I just feel like I do want to be exposed to some culture, and travel is a great chance to do that. And I also got to admit, I'm suspecting there's going to be a lot of historical value to the art just on display there. So, yeah. What else have we got? The Imperial Citadel. I've been there and done that before, and it's a really good site. It's the old citadel for the ancient city, so it's very interesting. It's not a huge site. Um, Military facilities in ancient times were not terribly elaborate, but it's cool to go see it. We'll spend some time there. They've also got a small museum to go with it, stuff on display. And I think I ignored the museum before because I was so excited to get to see the Citadel. I kind of ran through that part because it's at the visitor center, the entrance, and where you get the tickets. And so I just zipped through that. And then when I got out to the other part, I was like, oh, I really should have learned something before I came out here because there's only a few things to look at. But I can also show the map of Hanoi if I have one open already. So this is Hanoi. The Imperial Citadel is here, but it's actually, let's see, if you cut across about right here. Oh, this is the yard that's the entrance to the thing. So it takes up this entire block. There's this. I don't know if you guys can see my mouse, but the um, the street going across the block where the Citadel is not accessible. That's inside. So this is all blocked off all the way around. This part here is at the north end. That's the north gate. The main Citadel is there. And this is the yard. Oh, that's nice. That's not a stadium. this this photo is more accurate. The big yard in front. Okay, so that's that. Oh no, stop sharing altogether. Yeah. Interesting. Okay, so anyway, that's the Imperial Citadel. So that'll be fun, something fun to see. And this is just around the corner from my house, Trungkwat Pagoda. It's the oldest pagoda in Hanoi, so it goes back 1,000 years, 1,500. So that's pretty old. Something cool to see. It's been moved, of course. It's not the original structure, but it was moved like 1,200 years ago. I don't know. We'll find out when we go. Well, that's something to something to do. Now I've filmed there before, so I don't think there'll be any problem. Uh, yeah. What else we got? The market in the old town. Yeah, the historic district will be where we spend most of our time, and most of the sites don't go far outside of it, so we're never going to be far outside. Well, I shouldn't say never, but for most things, we won't be far outside the historic district. This is actually in the historic district. And it's the market. It's the main old market, so that'll be a nice, good, cool thing to do. Yeah, I do stuff like this, and I think I wonder if I should integrate my lunch time into stuff like this. But I don't know. Taking time out for lunch is worth it, and as long as we're going to go all day anyway, we might as well show some nice local eatery or something. Bakma Temple. Boy, I can never remember which one this is, but I think this is the one in the historic district. I'm not looking at the map right now. But this is an old historic temple. This one's from the 11th century. Yeah, definitely worth taking a look at. There's actually several of these, so it's hard when you're just walking around town and like being here and seeing them. It's hard to remember which ones are of high historical importance and which ones are just larger and more elaborate. And it tends to be an inverse relationship. The newer ones tend to be larger and more elaborate, but don't quite have the history. Okay, so ancient houses. There's only I see this one shown and repeated over and over again, and it just is unbelievable to me that there's only one home in all of the historic district that's been restored for the purpose of just tourists coming in and seeing what it was like to be in ancient Hanoi. But it seems to be true. I've not seen another one, and most of the things that have been restored in the historic district are actually uh, hotels or made into restaurants, which is understandable because it's a big tourist city. Tourism is big in the city, I should say. And we'll just do some wandering around Old Town. Um, I've stayed there plenty. Been here on vacation, and I lived in the historic district for about a month when I just came back this time because I was waiting on this apartment to open up. I just wanted to live in the same apartment because I knew the owner I knew the owner and the landlord, and I would rather deal with him. The apartment is nice, but it's more about dealing with somebody you know. than it is about trying to get the best apartment. Why you build good relationships? Scorn sheep. Um, yeah. Anyway, Old Town. I've been there plenty of times, so I'm kind of used to it. But at the same time, now I don't go over there at all. I never make my way over. And there's several things over there to do. Like there's good restaurants over there. It's not that it's all so touristy because it's a real part of the city. But of course, if you don't live there, you don't go over very frequently. Every once in a while, there's something over there that I need to do. St. Joseph's Cathedral. Catholicism is not a big religion here, but it was brought by the French, so it's there's more Catholic presence here than there is in most of Asia, most places in Asia. So it's kind of a unique thing. And there's a big cathedral there, and it's historic, and we will go see that. We've been over there before for some episodes, but it was during the meat of the pandemic. I don't want to imply Erica will remind me if I say the pandemic's over. It's not over, but I have to say the meat of the pandemic when it was at its highest numbers is when we did the other episode that we went. So I think there might be more going on. It's always under construction too. When we went, the a lot of the stuff that's normally inside was moved out. So for construction, I think it's they finished that part, but I don't know. We'll see when we go. Hong Kim Lake, that's the big lake in the middle of town. We want to see that. Yeah, it's just a nice lake in the historic district. This has been part the center of the city for a long time. The actual ancient city is just north of Hong Kim Lake, so it would have been outside the city in ancient times. By the time of the colonial era, it's now in the middle of the city. So you've got if I'll share good old Wikipedia, and because I think they have a good map that shows you where you're going to be if you're in the historic district in Hanoi. Said that. Now I have to. Oh, here we go. Nice. It's a nice map. Yeah. So the French Quarter, you'll see there's Ba Dinh and Hong Kim. They're both from the colonial era. Um, the main train station is here, just to the west of Hong Kim. And the old quarter is actually the ancient city, is the red part here. As you can see, like I said, it's actually north of Ho Guam, or sometimes called Hong Kim Lake, um, right here. And this is all historic. It's all part of the historic district because the colonial era is history too. But just to clarify, you can get confused by saying the historic district because the old quarter or the ancient city, sometimes called the 36 streets, is the red part. The colonial era spread that out. And of course, now today, um, the modern city would not fit on this map, not by a long shot. All right, let's go over. Make sure this is, yeah. I gotta say, so sidetrack, side note here. A few episodes ago, I was bitching about StreamYard because of payment stuff. It's not the software. I gotta say, their software keeps up. It's really really good stuff. It's not that anyone out there watching this is trying to stream, but just to you know not correct because I said it then, but to clarify what my bitching was about. It was about the payment options and something that happened with that. It was not. It's not about the software. They have really good software. I'm just amazed at how easily they can keep up with, and how easily I can use it because I'm not a technical person. And I'm technically a person, but I'm technically. All right, the Museum of Ethnology. Been there a couple of times, taking classes there, students, so they can learn about their history and culture. And it's really cool. I like that museum. It's got some good displays on the inside, but it's mostly an outdoor museum where it's got lots of things set up and things on display, so you can learn about Vietnamese culture. It's a great place to go. This is one of the few sites that we would be going outside of the historic district for. So we would be far outside the historic district for this. It's over on the west end of town. but definitely worth the trip. Museum of Ethnology is a great site to go. And this one too, the Lot Tower observation deck. We'll make that one trip. Um, Hanoi is not a city of tall buildings, as you can see in the picture here. There are a few, and they're cool, medium tall buildings, but it is not. It doesn't have the number of tall buildings one would expect from a city of 5 million, which is about what there is in Hanoi, which is something that I'm all about. It's when I was younger, I thought tall buildings were super cool, but as I've gotten older, I'm like, I'm not really. I have no use for them now. But when you do have a couple there in a city like this, it makes for a great observation deck. So we'll definitely be doing that. I like good views too. I'm a sucker for a good view. So that obviously conflicts with the tall building feelings. But yeah, the Lot Tower. I don't. Let's see. Are we doing anything that day afterwards? No. This will be the last thing we do. Okay. So the view is going to be good, but there's also a really cool bar on the top. The observation deck is inside. This is not an outdoor observation deck, but on the top of the building, as long as the weather holds that day, and it's pretty good, we will hopefully go up there and get a drink so you guys can see. Although I've tried to stream from the top of that building before, and it didn't work so well before. We'll try again. Um, yeah, cool views, and it's a cool bar. It's called something like the top of Hanoi. I'm like, you guys really missed an opportunity here. You could have called it the top of the lot, but whatever. I call it the top of the lot anyway because I don't care what other people name things. I live in my own world. Temple of Literature. Temple of Literature. For some reason, I'm obsessed thinking Scott's going to love this because he's an English major. But it is a cool site, though. It's an ancient Confucian temple. Definitely should be on everyone's list. Pretty much everything that we're listing should be on your must-do list. If you're coming to Hanoi, in a few days you can see that you can check off the top attractions in Hanoi. And pretty much everything on this list is a top attraction. It's kind of the theme for the channel, is we're going to the top tourist sites where we're going. Hoa Lo Prison, sometimes referred to as the Hanoi Hilton. I don't like using that term. I feel like if I was in the army or if I was there, I would be fully, free to use it and would not be a bad thing. But it seems to uh, diminish the site itself, and the site has a lot of really sad history. It's used during the American War. Uh, is just the tip of the iceberg. The French used it. The French built it as a place to torture the dissidents, which is to say people who wanted independence from France. Um, but we'll learn a bit more about that, of course, when we go. But Hoa Lo Prison is one of those non-happy sites you go to as a tourist, but it's so important to learn the history to so that it doesn't get forgotten. But that's definitely another place that we want to go. That's in town, and by the way, most of that site, most of the prison is not there anymore. Most of what was the Hoa Lo prison has been destroyed, and I think replaced with condos is what's there now. But there is a small museum there to educate people about the site, so we'll go see that. The Women's Museum. Women's rights has always been a big thing in Vietnam. The culture is not as anti-women as some other cultures, especially Western cultures, have been. And I mean historically. So there's always been a strong push for women's rights in Vietnam, and this is a museum dedicated to that. So that'll be cool. I'll see that. We continue. This is I don't know much about this one. I got to be honest. This is on the list because it's supposed to be one of the oldest religious sites. Obviously, the one on the first day that we talked about was what is that, Trang Quoc. That's the oldest. But this is an old one and important for reasons. It says it was originally an embassy building, so that'll be interesting. Anyway, it's a historic site, so we'll stop at that one. It's kind of just on the way too. Museum of the Revolution. I think that's going to be educational. Be a nice way to learn about Vietnam's modern history. And these two, this was the Museum of the Revolution and Museum of Vietnamese History, which goes back into more ancient history. They're part of the same complex. I'm not sure if they're the same building. I don't think they're covered by the same ticket but they're together somehow. And there you go. That. You can take me out of the corner now. So that's our plans for our time around Hanoi. I'm hoping I can get Scott and Erica to learn a little bit about some of these sites before we go. There you have it. I hope they're willing to do a little research and just pop in a little bit of interesting information here now and again. Those are our travel plans. Okay. Well, this is something I wanted to talk about, to talk with Erica about. So I'm just going to put it out there, and if anybody bothers to watch this in the future, they can do so, and I'll just talk to them. Maybe I'll talk myself into some new things, or into some things. But branding the new stream. So we've got 2 new streams that we're trying to do, but they may not stay streams, and that's kind of what that's another topic, I guess. But the branding of them, I think Scott's already talked to me about this, so maybe we have already decided that they need to have their own look. I would like to tie them back to the perpetual tourist so that they don't look like they're something totally different. But maybe that's the answer. Like, I've been looking for a new look for both of them, so they look like completely different shows. But maybe I should just be taking the little suitcase and plane that I've got as the logo and the rest of it for the perpetual tourist, and just replace the words with the practical traveler and the persistent explorer. So here's the thing. I've also thought, should we change the names of those are just names I came up with on the fly, and I thought, and now I'm thinking, I don't know if I want those to stay, the names. But I don't know. I guess as long as I'm undecided, I'll just leave them how they are. But the branding, though, yeah, maybe it should be just branded similarly to the way I'm doing the perpetual tourist, so that because I don't want 15 different looks. You can't tell they're even together; that they're part of the same thing. But these are just shows, and I keep calling them streams. And I should stop calling them streams because we don't know. But they're just shows that are meant to show something slightly different, as the mainstream will do. The mainstream is just about like what we just talked about, just going to these tourist sites and showing them so that you, the traveler, get to see them. But since we can only do those occasionally, and there's a lot more to travel than just that, I was thinking maybe we should do these different shows that address different aspects of travel, and not maybe, we're doing them now. But then how do you handle the branding on that? Do you brand them completely separately, like they're a different thing, or do you just show a different title and use the same branding? I don't know. This is what I was hoping to get feedback from them about. So if anybody watches and you got any thoughts or ideas, put them in the comments. I'm showing one viewer now. I'm not sure that this is a commenting viewer, or it could be just a bot. The bots, please keep watching. Yeah. So there you go. That's the question that I have in my head, like how to handle this branding. I'm watching a lot of stuff on YouTube about branding your channel, and this is a question. This is a channel question. It's not a travel question. It's a channel question. This is where those will appear. This show is where those will appear as well. So, and it's I'm not sure because I've already got some stuff. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. but it's something I'll keep thinking about, and when I decide, I'll switch them. So, any comments, ideas you have? Throw that in. Okay, and the other one is frequency. Like I think for the others, so there's this one where we talk about practical matters, and it's just like a well, I've listed it as a podcast because we're just sitting here chatting. Obviously, I'm in a very exciting place, hovering above it, above the highway, in a very exciting place. But other than that, the visual part of this is not what we're about. What this show is about. This is about getting off our chest all the practical stuff so that we can enjoy and talk about the where we're at, because so many when this was untethered live streams, we did so many episodes where we were going to exciting places and had fun, you know great things to show and talk about, and the conversation would always turn to practical matters. So I'm hoping this will help us get this off our chest before we do the stream to the cool the cool sites, so that we can talk about the site. And we can just go, let's talk about that. And if we start to veer off track, one of us can go, oh, let's just talk about that on the podcast show. Let's not talk about that here. Okay, so that's kind of why this is here. But then the question is, how often do we need to do that? It feels like we could easily fill up a 2-hour episode every week, but I don't know that what we're talking about would be worthy of the show. I do know that we need to get practical travel stuff out there, and discussions out there, and I want to put a lot of these questions to people who watch, and there are a few. It's hard to believe, but there are a few people who watch when we have a regular episode. So if anybody has any thoughts on this kind of stuff, I want to get that out there. But how often is that necessary? Is it just one time before each trip? And that's how often you actually plan a vacation. So if we want to go the direction of saying, the practical traveler, where we're sitting here and we're online and we're actually making our plans, our travel plans, then once per trip. So if we're heading down to, so what I just did, obviously there was a lot left out of the one we just did, because this is for Hanoi, and I live in Hanoi, so I don't need to make any actual travel plans, like book a plane ticket or something. God, I don't want to be going by plane if we can help it. But I don't need to book a plane ticket, and I don't need to book a hotel, and I already am pretty familiar with stuff like practical stuff, like how will I get around town. So that one was kind of short. So it was just a matter of talking about what we want to do while we're here, which we may not even address, that later, because it's not really part of the planning. But that was my version of doing planning for a place I already live. So I think like one episode of that is probably enough. If we go to Da Nang, we'll need one episode where we plan it all out and talk about that plan. Flights will be the least discussed thing on this show. Sorry, guys, but I don't really care for flying. And if I could arrange the show where I never got on a plane, I would absolutely do it for sure. So, so that probably won't. But we'll still be discussing things like how we're going to get around, what we plan to do, where we're going to stay, all these things. And so I think that would be. But for the practical traveler part, that's really all we need. Now then there's the other one, then there's the other part, which is just chatting, which would be stuff like the Armchair Traveler Movie Club. Mm-hmm. Be doing that. It could be a different show. We could do the Practical Traveler where we're only doing one episode to go with each destination. And you don't really need any more than that. Then we could have the other show, this side, where we're just chatting about travel. That's a thought. And that could be done. We could do that every week. That could be the Armchair Traveler. So okay, so that's a thought. I'll put my thinking cap on. We'll do more of that later. Okay, so that's a good answer for how often. So the Practical Traveler, we really only need to do one episode per destination. versus the Chatty Traveler, where we just come on and bullshit for 2 hours, mainly mainly about a movie. The movie could be itself be its own episode, but I really, really want to do that if we could get some sort of permission to show. We could just like demonetize it, maybe, and that might work. We'll look into that. So that's actually, several different streams. They're all valid. Oh, and then there's the other show. I already deleted the title down there, but then there's the other show, which is, I think, going to be mostly about food, but also just, I named it the Persistent Explorer because I didn't want it to be just about food, because I'm not really an expert enough in food to make the show just a food show. But if I'm being totally honest, most of the things we're going to explore is food. So there's that. All right. So there's another thing I wanted to talk about with Erica. I think she would enjoy this. Maybe she wouldn't care two shits about it. I don't know. But the StreamYard has a giveaway thing, and I kind of like the idea, because the one thing we don't really do much with that's a big travel thing is shopping. And so occasionally we go to places like Hong Kong would have been an example. Obviously, didn't have any money to do it while we were there, but in the future, I might have enough money to go, on a little mini shopping spree. And I don't really shop for myself, so who would I be shopping for? Well, this is how we could incorporate the giveaway, so that usually the giveaways on channels are, a coffee mug that says the name of the channel or some bullshit like that. And I mean, for most channels, I mean, that's as valid as you can get. But I thought, this is something that's big in travel. It really has something to do with the topic, and that's shopping. And yet I don't want to shop for myself. First off, I don't want to buy a bunch of shit on camera and then have to lug it back here. Like, I need a bunch of shit. And I like buying, I like the idea of getting something that represents the place I went. But I live in a studio apartment, and I don't want a bunch of, junk to pile up here. I want to travel a lot, but I don't want it all to pile up here in the room. I want to get rid of the shit that I've got. Half the reason I had all my stuff shipped down from China was just because I don't want to have to go out and rebuy everything. But I was also keenly aware that most of the stuff I was having shipped is stuff I was going to get rid of when I got here. And I've got a little stack going. I'll get rid of stuff, as I go. But yeah, I'm not big on bringing a bunch of stuff back, but I still like the idea of showing, what there is there to buy. So this is a good way to do it, and just ship the thing to a winner. So the giveaway is, and it's something I might as well show it as much as I can. I wonder if I can go on my own stream, like right now. Let's try it. This is an experiment. I'm the only one here to be doing the experiment, but also, okay, here's a channel I was going to start up, but never actually did. Oh, did I share this? Oh, so this is for this is for learning learning English, because I'm an English teacher, and I have some students. I never shared the thing. Oh, that's crazy. I need to remember to do that. Okay, I won't do it now because I'm in the middle of the stream. But I never taught the English. The one thing that English speakers are supposed to remember. Anyway, I'm gonna watch this. I'm gonna watch my video. Okay, here we go. I see the live icon now, live now. So I'm gonna watch my. Okay, I'm gonna mute myself so I'm not listening to myself as I'm talking. So here's the thing. I didn't set up the. I was just going to do this whole big experiment. Now I'm realizing I didn't set up a giveaway. Okay, you had to set it up first. You had to set up the giveaway, and then you guys type in your comment section. You type in hashtag whatever the super code is, and I don't have a code because we didn't actually do it. Oh, how do you do it? This is really something we should figure out first. StreamYard is giveaway. It's not like StreamYard /StreamYard giveaway. StreamYard giveaway. I don't know. Yeah, that's right. They want you to spell it correctly. Fair enough. I can understand that. Here's the giveaway tool. Here's the blah, blah, blah. Well, just take me to it. Just tell me all about it. Actually, I do want you to tell me all about it, but not right now. This is giveaway help. I wanted the actual giveaway tool. Okay, let me try another one because I don't want to lose that. I want to know how that. Oh, giveaway tool. This, did I save it? Streamer.com/giveaway. Okay, all right. Live, all right. All right, maybe I can set it up right now. That'd be crazy. Okay, hashtag hashyard. Hashtag trial run. Without there were no spaces. Hashtag trial run. Start collecting comments. Okay, so I just did it just now, and it says hashtag trial run. So now I'm going to go back to the thing I was just doing. Okay, so now I'm a viewer. How that works. And then I write a comment that says hashtag. I have to hit the hashtag button. Trial run. There we go. The prize this time is absolutely nothing. It's just the joy of knowing that you helped out. Entries 1. Okay, there we go. Can't draw yet. I can't do the draw. Okay, so this is not something I think that I can do. Wait, did it? Were you guys hearing me? Oh, here we go. Comments. This is what it looks like. Okay. So Bluebird English says hashtag trial run, and now you're entered in the giveaway. But I can't draw yet. I'm guessing because I need more than one person on in. Oh, it's muting me again. Am I doing that? Am I muting myself? I'm an idiot. Okay, I don't have machines work up and down. Okay, so that's the way that worked. That happened, and it seems to work. And if we had more than one entry, I could hit draw, and there'd be a prize. So let's imagine we had a lot of entries, and we were just say at a particularly fancy mall in Hong Kong, and we had a little bit of budget, and we bought some fun things, and during the stream. And at the end of, I would say not wait to the end of the stream. We could do multiple draws throughout the stream. I think you can set up a new hashtag, stuff like that. We'll figure out later. But so we go through them all, and at the end of it, we go, oh, what a great shopping spree! Now let's give this away, and then we get someone wins, and who knows what happens after that? That's like way too far in the future. But that would be cool, though, right? We went shopping, and someone that watched the stream actually won the stuff we shopped for. It wouldn't be preset. We just start the thing and go through and start shopping, and it doesn't cost anything. You just put up your. Let me take this comment down. Yeah, wouldn't that be fun? I mean, are we getting this? Are you processing? Are you picking up what I'm laying down? It's cool, right? That's a good idea. I've thought about that for a while, and I don't know anywhere in Hanoi that would be big on shopping. We just went through all the places we want to see in Hanoi. It's not really malls, but some markets might be valid for this, but a lot wouldn't. A lot of markets that we go to see, especially in Southeast Asia, are just going to be food markets. So I don't want to just cram some food into a bag and ship it across the world. But yeah, that seems like something that would be fun. Okay, so I thought about that for a while, and I wanted to throw that out there. This is the chatty part of the show, not the planning part of the show. We're not doing a planning part of the show. It's kind of why I want to try. I want to take the practical travel and move it to like practical planning things that people might want to watch in the future, and take this one and switch it to something like the Chatty Traveler or the Movie Club. The Armchair Traveler Movie Club could be the name of the whole stream. All right, that's the giveaway. Oh, and then I just had a big list of bullshit to talk about. We can run through this list. Favorite travel memories. I don't really. I've traveled a lot. I've been very lucky in my life to be able to travel a lot, and I've gone to a lot of places. And can't really say. I can't really say I have a favorite travel memory, but I do have a favorite trip that I went on. And I hate to say it because I live in Asia and I love Asia and I love traveling around Asia. But my trip to South America was probably my favorite. The trip to Peru. There was just so much there, all packed into one trip. I went with my ex, and the whole trip was just a really good memory. So a lot of good memories from that trip. Machu Picchu, and got to see the Amazon. We were there for 2 weeks. All this stuff in one place. You know, that's amazing to me. Amazing trip. And also, it's just like Peru is. It was so different from what I imagined Latin America would be like, and maybe it is pretty unique in Latin America. It's the only time I've been to South America. So I've been to Mexico as well, but it's yeah, Peru was just so unique, so much different stuff there, and we didn't see all of it. In the north, I should say, so Machu Picchu is like your alpine jungle, which seems like a contradiction in terms, and along with ancient, sites, ancient empire, the ruins of ancient empire, and then you take a flight down to the Amazon, totally different environment, and then we went south to go to a place called Arequipa, and it's a part of the high desert that goes on down, continues on down into Chile. Interesting environment there. Arequipa itself is like and we got to go to Lake Titicaca. Almost forgot to put that on the list, which is itself largest alpine lake in the world. It's really an amazing place. I've got work tonight, so I'm just checking the time. Really an amazing place. So that whole trip was really good, and we didn't even hit everything. The north of the country has some deserts, and the Nazca Lines, which are really amazing things. There's these big, huge, like pictures that were created by ancient peoples in the middle of the desert, but you can only see them from the air, and it's like, well, how did they, how would you now, if you didn't have the aid of some, aerial photography or something, how would you lay out pictures on this scale that's so large they can only be seen from the air? Anyway, interesting. A lot of cool stuff. Peru was a cool trip. Favorite foods to try when traveling. Favorite foods to try. Try implies it's the first time you're having it. So how could you have a favorite? That doesn't. I don't know what that means. You could just say favorite food. I don't know. Vietnam's one of my favorite places for food. Shanghai was a really good city for food. Hong Kong is, I hate to say it like this, but this is the way it's going to come out. Hong Kong is supposed to be, but Hong Kong is one of those places where the the food native to the place, to that area, is Cantonese food, which is really good. I like Cantonese food, but Hong Kong is not better for Cantonese food, I don't think, than Guangzhou is, which is up the river a bit. In fact, I would say Guangzhou is better. That's the center of Cantonese culture. So, of course, it's going to be better for Cantonese food. Now, Hong Kong, of course, is very international, cosmopolitan, lots of different food available from all over the world, and the food is really good there. But I'm not sure that that's what you travel for. You know what I mean? Like, people say this about New York. Oh, the food's so great. And it's like, well, okay, but you're talking about eating Italian food or French food or something else that's really good. And yes, it's good in New York, sure, and the same is true in Hong Kong. But wouldn't it be better in the place? Like, if you're a traveler, wouldn't you want to go to the place that food is from? So this cosmopolitan, it's great for people who live in New York because then they don't have to travel and they still get really good food. And then I think that's true for Hong Kong as well. But if you're a traveler, then wouldn't you be going to the place to try the food that's from that place? Like when I lived in China, when I lived in Shenzhou, I ate, everything that was there. It wasn't just local food, but that's because I lived there. If I was only there for 2 weeks, I would focus more on just, food from Hunan province. which in Chinjo is just too spicy. I like spicy food, but good God, it's just too spicy there. But if you go up to the capital in up Hunan province, then maybe it's just toned down for people from outside the province, but it's a lot more tolerable. If you're a fan of the spiciest food in the world, you should put Chinjo on your list. It has to be at the top. I finally found spicy food in Thailand. Usually I stick to such tourists, which is not a point of pride, but I stick to such tourist areas that the food isn't even spicy. But I did finally find some spicy food on my last trip there, which was nice, and it was good and spicy, but it didn't even come close to Chunjo. So there you go. Anyway, favorite foods to try, whatever's there. I mean, you got to explore what's there in the place. You can't have a favorite and go for that. That kills the point of going. Most interesting people you've met while traveling. I mean, to whatever degree you can, you meet local people. But if you're there for a week or two, maybe people with more outgoing personalities find people when they travel in the place that they're from. But the truth is, if you've only got a week or two, and that's what most people have, and honestly, if you have a month or 2 months, you're probably not going to meet a lot of locals in a tourist place. That's one of the things we switched when we went from Untethered to this. My desire to show the coolest sights meant that I'm going to be sticking to the tourist places, the most touristy places. You're probably not going to meet a lot of locals. The people who live there and work there and that are in the tourist industries, they're used to seeing foreigners come and do the tourist stuff. And they're friendly and they're good, they're nice people, but they're not going to get attached. You're not going to make good friends. So I'm not really sure what this question means, I guess. When you're traveling, you mostly meet other travelers, which isn't terrible. They can be interesting and nice, but that's not what you travel for. You want to meet people from there, but the people you meet are almost guaranteed to be used to meeting people who are not going to stick around. So you're not going to make lasting friendships, probably. Again, if you go someplace outside of the tourist locales, like when I lived in Chenzhou, yeah, you can meet locals and you can make good friends. I still have good friends there. My friend Tao Tao, I was talking to him earlier today, and he's this is not a happy story, but he's losing his bar, his second bar that he has tried. He owned a bar for years, which did quite well in Chenzhou until the pandemic, and then that one closed, and then he wanted to open a new one, and he doesn't consult me on these things. No reason he should, but I thought when he did it, I was like, man, this is not, you don't want to do it right now. Maybe in a few years it'll be the time to open a bar, but this is not a good time to do it. Just not, unless you have a huge, reserves to get you through bad times, you're not gonna have a good a lot of potential to start a business right now. It's just not the time to be doing it. So, but he did, and now thinks he's going out of business. He's not quite out yet, but every time I talk to him, he's like, "Yeah, business is bad, it's bad." So, anyway, that was not that was a real sidetrack from that question. What's the next one? I'm just going through these because these are bullshit questions. I didn't want to keep them around to next episode. I'm sure I'll come up with some more bullshit before next episode. Most challenging travel experiences you've had. I've had plenty of challenges while traveling, but I don't file them away in my head. There's always plenty of small things that happen, but you're on a vacation, so. Most challenging travel experiences you've had. Duh. Okay, yeah. So at the beginning of the pandemic, I left China because I thought, wouldn't it be cool to go just lie on a secluded beach during all this and let it blow over? Once I found out schools were going to be out for a while, I decided to head to Cambodia and just lay on the beach. And I did that for a few weeks, and it looked like China was going to whoop that old virus and head back, go back to normal. And so I headed back, and that's when I crossed the border into Vietnam, and that's when the rest of the world exploded. And so that wasn't great. And long story short is that after, well, we're almost at 4 years later, I made it back to Vietnam. If you want the long version of that, watch all the old Untethered episodes. I may just put those all in one big live stream or one big playlist, because they put in order. They should really tell the story. That's not a bad idea. I may end up doing that. So I'm kind of still on the challenging travel experience, although I finally have started regular work and tried to settle in here in Hanoi. But I never did make it back to China since I left 4 years ago. So that's probably the most challenging travel experience I've ever had. And yeah, maybe I will put that playlist. I haven't really done anything. I've just left them in their old playlists for based on destination. But I was thinking about how to reorganize them, since I know there's going to be no more Untethered episodes. That could just put them in a playlist called the Untethered Experience and just order them by when they came out. Good practical things to think of for this show. How about this one? Most rewarding travel experience I've had. Most rewarding, huh? I would have to say Saipan. I made good friends there, lifelong friends. I mean, think of them like family. Obviously, I stayed there for a very long time, but I met them. I met Charlie pretty early on. Well, Charlie and Chris, she was there that first day. I met them pretty early on, and they're as close to them as I can be to somebody. You know, it was a amazing experience to be there, and I probably would have stayed there if there had been work, if it had been something, if it had been feasible. But as part of the United States, the economy is just not quite there. So you can, if you find work, you won't be making much, which is why I left the United States to begin with. But yeah, that was definitely the most rewarding. Hard to figure that one out. Favorite travel books? Oh well, shoot. It's been a while since I've read any travel books at all, and I mean, since as far as research goes, you tend not to do your travel research through books anymore. It's more on the internet, more information available on the internet than you can get in a book. So for a practical reference, I wouldn't go for a travel book. But I am trying to think of his name, and I'm sure. Here, let's pull away down. We're not doing our trial run giveaway anymore. Congratulations to no one. No one won. Just gonna go on and see if I can. Bill Bryson. Bill Bryson. I've read a couple of his books, and I'm sure I haven't read him in many years, but boy, he was funny. I just like, he's just humorous and writing travel books. So it's too much crossover with what I do and what I like. So yeah, Bill Bryson was always fun. But I haven't read anything from him in years. Probably should go back to it. I'm trying to spend my reading time, what little time I actually sit and reading classical literature or just important books that I probably should have read in school, but didn't. So I don't read a lot of travel books anymore. I do all my time I spend on travel is research now, and it's online. Favorite travel movies? Well, we just have a whole club of travel movies. I don't really have one. I don't have a favorite travel movie. I think. I'm trying to think of like the kind of buddy movie, road trip movie kind of things. But I don't know if I have a, European Vacation. That's it. European Vacation. Yeah, I skew towards the comedy side anyway. But yeah, National Lampoon's European Vacation. I watched that when I was very young, and it's still my favorite National Lampoon's movie, and my favorite travel movie for sure. I like prefer comedies. Travel bucket list. Look, I got a whole map made on Google Maps of places I would like to go. So that's easily my travel bucket movie list. I don't know why I put the word movie in there. Sorry, not movie. My travel bucket list. But I actually don't like the idea of a bucket list anyway for anything, travel or otherwise. It's I think it's a silly. You got things you want to do. The whole concept of the bucket list. Here's all the things you want to do in your life before you die. Well, that's just saying here's all the things you want to do. That's the same as it's just a list of things you want to do. And I get then that's fine. That's great to have a list of things you want to do. But to call it a bucket list, like you got to check all this stuff off before you're dead. After you're dead, you won't care. I mean, it's not going to make a difference after you're dead. So it's just stuff you want to do, and that's fine. You can have a list of things you want to do. I have things I want to do. As far as like my list of places I'd like to go, yeah, it's like 500 things on that list. Really, do I think I'm going to get to do all of them? No, it's not even. That's not even why I made the list. It's just like here's a list to go back and reference when you have the opportunity to do or see something. You go, oh well, let's see what's on my list. Well, now I have a actual literal list of things I would like to places I would like to go, and yeah, and if I get to do, the more I get to do, the better. Or actually, just I don't even care that I get to do a lot of them. It's just that here's a reference to draw from when you have the opportunity. And for Vietnam, for close by here, it's Da Nang, and well, after I get, we're going to do some episodes here in Hanoi. But once we get to actually travel out, Da Nang and Hoi An, they're right next to each other, so we may be able to do them in one trip. But this is what the practical travel would be about. So I don't know if we'll. I don't know if we'll do the chatty. I guess that would be a chatty traveler episode. If we're just gonna sit and chat, then yeah, maybe decide if we're gonna do them both together. They are extremely close. I mean, they're just I don't think they're even 2 hours apart. But they're two different cities, two different places to go, and to put them both together, you probably got a week's vacation. So if I can get a week off, that's what I'll do. That'll probably next year. Since we're already almost in November this year, and well, Saigon, of course. I want to go back and do it properly. We did a few episodes on Untethered in Saigon, but we'll we'll end up going back there. Yeah, but that may actually be farther off than some foreign travel. So if after Da Nang, if I'm able to, to go to another place, I think probably Thailand and northern Thailand, because I haven't been to northern Thailand. So I would love to see northern Thailand next. And if I can put one more place on the list, I'd like to go to Guangzhou. I'd like to go back into China. I hope to be able to, to put China on this new list. But anyway, yeah. So China will be on the list. Southern China, Guangzhou. I'm not sure if we'll do a Macau. I like Macau. I really like Macau, but I'm not sure that it has enough fights to make the episodes that we want to make while we're there. It's got some for sure, and we could do maybe one day or something. So maybe that's what we'll end up doing. But Macau is mostly about casinos. I mean, that's not something first off, you can't bring a camera in the casino, but also if you could, it would be extremely boring. I cannot see what you would really want to, put in an episode for with a casino. But the Macau certainly has an interesting history, so it may be worth doing. All right. Well, this was something I was going to put out to Erica and Scott, where they to be on the stream. Any other travel related topics you find interesting? I would rather actually talk about travel Well, there's travel related. So to talk about the practical traveler, do we need whole streams for hotels? I'm never that interested in what the hotel is like. I guess there's always a situation to talk about, but yeah, I don't know if we'll. I almost really have thought about that as if in some far distant future, if we can get enough viewers to entice a, a sponsorship of some sort, then maybe that would be where we would talk about hotels. Because I don't. Having worked in the industry and sold a lot of hotels, I just don't care. I want it to be clean and in a good location, and people are almost always nice where you go. I'm always fascinated to hear people go, the people were so nice there. So, the people are nice everywhere generally. You may run into an asshole or two anywhere, and I suppose you could, if you put some sort of a metric to measure niceness, you could find that people over here are nicer than the people over there. But as a tourist, you rarely have a problem. People are glad to see you because you're there to spend money. I'm always glad when I see money. I mean, if it's coming towards me instead of going away. So yeah, something like hotels. We're already talking about doing the food, and I think we're in a good spot to show a lot of food and to make some episodes of that. So I think we can get started on that. Other travel related topics. I don't know anything. If we got to shopping, that's a travel related topic. So that's something we're doing our tourist sites, which covers most. I think most of them are going to be historic sites, but there'll be some other types of things too that we do. Those are your sites. And any ideas? What do you guys think? Leave your comment in the comments where comments go. All right. Yeah. So trying to think of I'm just trying to think now that we're not doing Untethered anymore, and we're actually trying to put together a real travel channel. Like, how do we structure it? I'm definitely going to put the Untethered stuff in one playlist. I think it's worth. If you have any interest in where all of this came from, all of what we're trying to do now, then rather than me sit and try and go through the 20-hour explanation of what happened and how I got here, let's just make a playlist of Untethered videos. Yeah. All right. This thing, whatever it becomes, not the once per episode of the Practical Traveler, which I'm happy to do. Not that, but this chat. If we just have a chatty traveler show, which I'm thinking we should do now. If we do that, we need to have a regular recurring time, and it needs to be regular for Scott and Erica because I want them on every time if at all possible. So I need to figure out what their perfect time is, because I also want to set things up so that should we be successful and I can move around different time zones, I want to be able for them to be able to get on the stream and do it, and I'll be the one that goes out of my way to do this regular show. And the idea is that we would do the chatty traveler regularly. We do the chatty traveler regularly at the same time every week, unless we're somewhere actually shooting our live streams, in which case, of course, we would not be doing it regularly. But that would change for me. That means as I move around different time zones, it may, I'm the one that will have to adjust my schedule. But that's if we're successful. So right now on opposite sides of the planet, it's probably best for us to do it either in the mornings or the evenings, and then we'll just leave it like that. But I also need to do it regularly every day. That'll make it easier to listen to too if someone actually does want to listen to us in this podcast style. All right, so I think the answer to should we make this a regular recurring show, I should say. Regular meaning same time, same day every week. think the answer to that is yes, we should do that. And we just have to I have to figure out with them when that is, when that'll happen. I certainly hope this audio took. I don't know what this button does. All right, should it be live? Should we be live with this? I'm going to say no. That means we can film it anytime, record it anytime, and then just post it. What do I think about? If we didn't do it live, I could actually edit it down from the crazy 2 hours that I'm currently doing, which we're not going to hit 2 hours today because it's just me. But yeah, I think this is another one. The food thing we don't really need to do live. This thing we don't really need to do live. Yeah, right. Good and good. We don't really need to do this live. For the practical traveler, maybe. If we split these off and say we're going to have a practical traveler episode where we do one episode per destination when we do our planning portion, and then we have the chatty traveler over here where we just sit and bullshit, just our weekly bullshit session. But that's why maybe it's better to focus that on the Armchair Traveler movie club, or maybe that makes it the whole of the show. I don't know. And finally, this is just mine. I do want to do that right now, but I'm also going to need to do it during the actual live streams. If we do a 7.5 hour live stream, I will not be able to go through every one of them without going to the restroom. So I need some videos. We need to pre-make. We actually need to pre-make 3 different videos. We need to make a video. Well, we need to make an intro for the channel, which I've known we need to do that. I just wanted to actually get to where we were doing the channel before we made an intro for it. So maybe after we do at least after Hanoi, we'll do an intro for the channel. And then we need to do, we need to decide on a video to show recurring. So you've got two intros, really. You've got an intro for people who subscribed and people who haven't. But we need to do both of those. And the one for the people who have subscribed, a lot of places seem to do rotating things. It's whatever's new and interesting, and that's fine. We may do that. And then we need to do something we can show while I am indisposed, whatever I'm doing. If I need to turn the camera off while we're traveling, or we need to just take a break during this 7-hour live stream, we need to have a video that runs for a few minutes that we can play. I've noticed some places set that up so that they can deal with technical issues. Like today, when I was trying to figure out what the hell was going on with the StreamYard's giveaway tool and trying to figure it out, and I'm like, oh, I don't know how this works. I keep shutting off my audio, but maybe it doesn't affect it. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, so they have a backup video. All right, well, anyway, that was a lot of stuff to get off my chest while I was waiting on Eric to show up, and it didn't happen. Oh, disappointing. I always like having a chat with her. I think that's fun. But I will take the things that I have worked through in my brain and send them to Scott and Erica and see if they are. Scott said he was not going to attend this one. I scheduled it at a really, really bad time. Great for me because it's the middle of the day, so it was easy to wait. But for him, that means it's the middle of the night. And Erica was going to be here because she's often up in the middle of the night. But I guess she fell asleep, which is actually a good thing. So I'm going to start working this in my head to where I can schedule it at times when they can join. And if we're not going to do it live, we can do it anytime. And that could mean that they can be there always or not. That didn't make any sense, did it? That would, if we're not doing it live, then it's easier to schedule. I guess is what I'm trying to say. All right, and that's really all we have for today. See how much stuff there is to talk about? It's not really though. I just made up a lot of it. A lot of the stuff in the middle was just the list that I went through that I was going to talk about with Erica. But yeah, that may make, if she wants to do the movie club, we could make that a third show, not stream. None of those need to be streamed. We'd have to check out the legality of showing the whole thing. It may just be that playlist is never monetized, and that would be fine. It would still be fun. Fun to talk about travel movies. I like that. It'd be a great way to get people to watch the show. All right. Well, thanks for tuning in. If anyone in the future does tune in, and if you don't, I don't blame you. This was not. I really become the Stuart Smalley of live streaming. This was not my best episode. But do I have I don't have an out video for this. Oh, I don't know. The practical traveler may end up just being absorbed into the professional tour. Yeah, there we go. And that would be fine if that's what happens. In fact, I'm not sure it's beneficial for us to have all these different brandings. Because that would be, what do we talk about? The practical traveler, the chatty traveler, the movie club, and the regular 4 different brandings. I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think that's what you're supposed to do with branding. Yeah. Branding, but not Brandy. Brandy's a perfectly lovely person. Okay, well, that's good. Good to work through these things, figure out what we're doing. Maybe before we get started. We're kind of already started, I guess. All right, thanks again to anybody who watches this. If you don't, I guess you're not hearing this. Tomorrow with our food show, which is, I think, going to be interesting. See you then.
Jag är Peter och de här kommer då se upp som personer som tar över. Jag är människa,